Hello folks, Jonathan Milam here, and as always, I do hope you're having a great day. I've got two very nice trumpets here. One is vintage. It is a very rare King Golden Flair, and different from the Silver Flair. This is a lighter horn. I read recently a guy that got a King Silver Flair in, and he said, "I can't believe how light it is." If you got a Silver Flair, I can't believe how light it is either, but not particularly heavy. But in comparison to the Golden Flair, the Silver Flair is what they would call a load. And another very light horn, and actually such an interesting horn, is Trent Austin's first generation Adams A1. This horn has got a 55 gauge, which is just about the heaviest bell that Adams makes. They make a 60 for trumpets. A lot of theirs are 40, so considerably lighter. And still, this weighs in as a light horn, so they must have gone really light on the lead pipe. And other parts around the valve block tuning slide. You can see just a little bit of red rot there if you've got a super large camera and an eagle eye. And Adams did put out a very light lead pipe for a while, had a lot of problems with red rot, and but I will say, tremendously quick response, tremendously quick. Okay, I'm going to play 4 mouthpieces with each of these horns, and try and limit my talk to 30 minutes or less. Little humor. But I'm going to start off with what I would call a legit mouthpiece. It is a GR64MX. So it's their medium, slightly extra deep. I'm going to start off with the King Golden Flair. Since it's a legit mouthpiece, I will try and endeavor to play in a presentable fashion the Lord's Prayer, which I should never frankly try. It's just too beautiful a song to mess up, and it's I can't do it with the perfection that I like, but it'll give you an idea about the Golden Flair as a legit horn. Then we'll go to a deeper mouthpiece, a deeper yet mouthpiece, and wind up with the lead or commercial piece, contrasting these horns. I've always felt that light bells, and in the instance of the A1, not a light bell, but a light horn, made them mouthpiece sensitive. And I think you'll probably agree that these are at least average or better for mouthpiece sensitivity. So the GR64MX and King's vintage and marvelous Golden Flair. In heaven. When I was in high school, I wound up singing that at a bunch of weddings. Much easier when you've got a piano playing along with you. Okay, we'll go to the Adams A1. Just a really interesting horn. And we'll try that same thing with the same GR64 mouthpiece. If you're going to be playing either of these horns in a legit situation, perhaps will give you an idea how they would sound. Doesn't that kill you? Why am I not finishing the phrase? Because I want to kill you. I had a teacher one time that was taking a music theory class in high school, and he played a major scale, and he stopped on the seventh note. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And he just walked away from the piano, and you wanted to go, C. Okay, we'll try the color of your smile. We'll go to a relatively deep mouthpiece. In fact, it's a very deep V. Trent Austin's TATF. If you're in an intimate atmosphere and you want something that's certainly darker than a legit mouthpiece, but not the full-blown huge TF that you can get, and which we'll play next, this would give you an idea what you'd get with a King Golden Flair. And we will try the color of your smile, I guess. Okay, we do that same thing with the Adams A1, and of course this is the Gen 1. And the Trent Austin TATF. Yeah, Trent's mouthpiece on Trent's horn. Okay, now, if you just want to go dark, it's hard to beat a Reeves C2J. I was looking at this mouthpiece one time for a long time, and I started thinking, it's a kitchen sink. Well, it's very deep, very deep. You can't even see the end of it, can you? And quite a big drill. I think it's about a 14 drill size, which is what they use for some small tenor trombone mouthpieces. So you get a very big, very dark sound. And we'll play just a little bit of this Reeves C2J, same song, starting on the King Golden Flair. A little more than I wanted to play there, sorry. Just hard to find a good stopping place. And I think most definitely the A1, Gen 1 at least, haven't played a Gen 2, but I do believe that this is really a mouthpiece marvel. Sensitivity. Okay, so it's the Reeves C2J, and if you want to go straight down, if you're thinking, boy, now what did that King Golden Flair, you go straight down to the bottom of the comments. I'll have each of these 8 mouthpieces lined up. You can click just from one to the other. However, if you do that, you miss the quality dialogue. And most of you are saying, thank God. Okay, we'll try the Adams A1 with the Reeves C2J. Okay, now we'll move on to a little bit more of a commercial sound. Got a Monette mouthpiece here, and most of them, I think, lean towards the lead application, and this one certainly does. It's a Monette BLM. I had Matt Frost, great custom mouthpiece maker, and does a lot of other stuff as well. But I had him take the rim off. It was kind of a 3-ish, 5-ish thing. And hate cutting a gold rim off, but just did not like the, it was a little big and just didn't like it. But he enabled this piece that came with the GR, I think it's a Delrin piece. I had that put on, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, a lot of these were Reeves pieces, 6, 7, 8, probably about 15 mouthpieces. 15 mouthpieces that I had the rims cut off of, different times. If I go a little larger, a little smaller, I don't have to switch all my mouthpieces out. I can just get a different rim, and I really do like that. Okay, sometimes I play MacArthur Park, just to give you an idea, you know, get a little bit above the staff. I think I'll play a little bouncier number this time, just so you can get a little feel about articulation, just a little bit. Old gospel number. I remember when my burdens rolled away. And then we'll try and get up a little bit above the staff. But this is the Monette BLM. If you wanted to know how would that King Golden Flair, made for the studio, and such a quick responsive horn, as is the Adams A1, which is why I'm comparing them. But such a quick response, marvelously light, made for one of the Candoli brothers. And I think King did a masterful job. I think they'd maybe been taken over by a conglomerate on their way to whatever they are now. But they still had some great people in that were able to fashion a marvelous instrument. This Golden Flair is a tremendous trumpet. Okay, and we'll take the Adams A1 Gen 1 with that same Monette BLM mouthpiece. Small, very shallow mouthpiece, big throat, and really seems to even out the what otherwise would be a very cutting sound into a really very interesting piece. All right, the Adams A1 Gen 1 with the Monette BLM mouthpiece. Little commercial sound. Great trumpets. I was fiddling around with them yesterday, and on a good day, I can squeak out an F. And both of these horns just really lend themselves quite easily to the upper range. Actually, I think the resistance of this trumpet is a lot like a Strad. And I do like that leaning against it, your standard 25 lead pipe. I just like that, that resistance level, and I feel that with the Adams A1. That's my sense as well. Okay, just a minute. I guess we'll get to spend some time. Looks like they've got a bronze lower pieces of the valve block, and the upper, the balusters, nickel silver. The golden Flair, it appears to be brass with some brass and yet a little more brass. Not a whole lot of distinction there. Seemed to me the bottom leg of the third slide is nickel silver, and I thought the top leg of the first slide is nickel silver. Looks like the other leg looks like our brass. Kind of interesting. Part of this, I think, is aluminum. I can't remember if it's this piece here. I believe it is. The top caps. I thought this was such a marvelously light horn. Then I got the Adams A1 in, and I think it's 1 gram lighter. One of them was 1,000 grams, and one of them was 1,001. Two delightful light horns. And speaking of delightful, I've had a delightful time being with you. Hope you've enjoyed it. Love the comments, thoughts that you may have, experiences with these horns. As always, do take care of yourself and someone near you.